Добрый Идем? Возможно. Возможно. Да вас ничем не испортить, вы красавица. Вас ничем не испортить, вы красавица.
Не, просто боюсь, что я что-нибудь спать.
Дорогие преданные, посмотрите на тот балкон. Я расскажу попозже о нем. Это комната, где там Шрила Прабхупада проживал, а здесь проживал Махарадж. Он приехал из США. Он вот там жил, в том месте. Шридхара Махараджа здание, и они по этому балкону проходили. И Шридхара Махараджа, он жил здесь, и он приходил к нему. Давайте оглядимся, и потом мы найдем место и поговорим об этом.
Можно на стоп поставить. Смотрите, баркалем.
Я так живу с телефоном уже второй год в Индии. У меня 3 фотографии с прошлого года. Угу. Кто?
С того года вообще фотки какие-то показывали? Скидывали куда-нибудь?
Chaitanya Saraswat Mat.
Мы в Chaitanya Saraswat, храме, который был установлен братом духовного Шрилы Прабхупады. Бхактишьяшадев Госвами Махарадж. Он был самый старший и самый образованный из учеников Бхактисиданты Сарасвати.
Before joining Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur,
Перед тем, как присоединиться Шрила Бхактисиданты Сарасвати Тхакуру,
born in a Brahmana family.
он был
He was
рожден в
very
браманической семье.
attached to worship Lord Ramachandra.
И он очень был привязан к поклонению
But he
Господу
also had
Рамачандры.
some understanding about Lord Chaitanya.
Но также у него было какое-то понимание о Господе Чайтанье.
One of his friends,
И один из его друзей,
he saw how one of his friends at
он
some
видел,
point,
как некоторые из его друзей в какой-то
to
момент,
whom he was going to
с
the
кем
school,
он ходил в школу,
he was a kind of like very,
он
very
был
special and different
особенным
than
и
other students.
отличался от
He
других
appreciated very much that
студентов. И они
person
очень
always
нравилось,
was chanting Harinam, was chanting Japa,
что этот
was
человек
following
всегда
the
воспевал
principles.
Харинаму, всегда
And
следовал
once he
регулирующим
begged me to
принципам.
ask, "Can you
И однажды он
tell me
спросил:
what
ты можешь
you are
сказать
doing?"
мне, что ты делаешь?
Anyway, that
В
devotee
любом
did not
случае,
want
этот преданный не хотел
openly tell
говорить открыто
about his
о своих
practice, but
практиках, но
at some point,
в какой-то момент
one mystic told Siddhartha Maharaj, future
один
Siddhartha Maharaj,
мистик
that
сказал, что
you should
Шридар
find a guru,
Махарадж,
because
ты должен
Siddhartha
найти
Maharaj was
гуру,
searching
потому
for a
что
guru.
Шридар
At one
Махарадж
point,
искал гуру. И
he
он
went to a place
пошел в
where
место,
there was supposed to
где
be a very, very famous guru, and he
должен был
saw
быть очень
an
знаменитый гуру,
announcement
и он увидел
made
объявление,
by the disciples of
сделанное
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati,
учениками
that there will be a
Бхактисиданты
lecture about
Сарасвати, что
Mahaprabhu.
будет лекция про
And when
Махапрабху.
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati
И
attended
когда
this lecture
Бхактисиданта
that was
Сарасвати
given
пришел
by
на эту
some
лекцию,
followers of
которую
Bhaktisiddhanta, he was
давали
very impressed.
последователи Бхактисиданты Сарасвати, он был очень удивлен,
And when he came for the
впечатлен.
first time,
И
he
когда
wanted
он
to
пришел
listen
в первый
from
раз,
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati.
он хотел послушать Бхактисиданту
And
Сарасвати.
he was coming just to the temple of Bhaktisiddhanta
Он
in
просто
Calcutta. He
приходил
was staying
в храм
at the entrance
Бхактисидданты
and he
в
was waiting
Калькутте,
for
и он
Bhaktisiddhanta to come
ждал,
and talk,
чтобы
to do some
Бхактисидданта
presentation.
пришел и поговорил,
At
дал
one point,
презентацию,
the
лекцию.
secretary of
И
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswat
секретарь
said that there is
Бхактисидданты
a
Сарасвати сказал,
man
что
sitting
есть человек,
outside
который
and he
сидит
is
снаружи,
waiting
и
for a
он ждет
darshana, for a talk.
даршана поговорить.
And
И
Bhaktisiddhanta told his
Бхактисидданта
servant,
сказал
go and ask
своему
him if he
слуге,
has a question.
иди и спроси, есть ли у него какой-то вопрос.
And the servant came
И
and asked, do
слуга
you have a
сказал,
question
у
that
тебя
you'd like
есть
to
вопрос,
ask of
который ты
Guru
бы
Maharaj?
хотел
He said,
спросить у
no.
нашего Гуру Махараджа? Нет.
Then the servant came to
Тогда пришел
Bhaktisiddhanta and
слуга
said,
обратно
he doesn't
Бхактисидданта и
have any
сказал, у
question.
него нет
And then
никаких вопросов. И
Bhaktisiddhanta
тогда
said,
Бхактисидданта
then go
сказал,
ask him,
тогда пойди спроси
maybe
его,
he
возможно,
wants something.
он хочет что-то.
And the servant
И
came
слуга
and
пришел и
said,
сказал,
do you want
ты
something?
что-то хочешь?
And he said,
Он
no, I
сказал,
don't want
нет, я
anything.
ничего не хочу.
The servant came to Bhaktisiddhanta
Слуга
and
опять
said,
пришел к
don't want
Бхактисидданту и
anything.
сказал, он ничего не хочет.
And then
И тогда
Bhaktisiddhanta said,
Бхактисидданта
then
сказал,
ask him the reason why he came here.
спроси, по какой причине он пришел
When
сюда.
the servant
И
came and
когда
asked
слуга
Sridhar
пришел,
Maharaj,
Шридар Махараджа спросил, почему ты сюда пришел
he
тогда?
said, I
Он
came
сказал,
to
я пришел
receive mercy.
получить милость.
And then Bhaktisiddhanta said, let him in, let him come. Anyway, it's a long
И тогда
story
ему
how he
разрешили войти,
became a
прийти.
devotee, how he joined, but he was very, very
Помилование,
knowledgeable.
милости, да.
And he was one
Он
of
был одним
the
из
very, very good brothers of Srila
редких
Prabhupada who
духовных братьев Шрилы Прабхупады, которые по-настоящему поддерживали.
You know, Prabhupada
Вы
was
знаете,
very
Прабхупад
cutting
был
sometimes,
очень
and
резким иногда.
Prabhupada
Его
was
Прабхупада, он просто,
completely not sentimental.
он совершенно не сентиментальным человеком был.
Sometimes
Иногда
Prabhupada
Прабхупада
could use some
мог
strong words regarding his
несколько крепких слов сказать по поводу о своих духовных братьях, которые
in their
сидели
temples and
в своих
just worshiping
храмах
the
и
deities
просто
and ringing
поклонялись
the bell.
божествам, звоня в
And Prabhupada
колокольчики.
said that
Прабхупада
this is
говорил,
for
это
teaching,
бесполезно
because they're
для
sitting in
проповедования,
temples,
потому
ringing
что
the
они
bells,
сидят
sitting
в
prasadam,
храмах,
doing nothing
колокольчики
for our
звонят
Guru
и ничего
Maharaj's
не
mission.
едят просад,
And
и
when
ничего не
these
делают для
words
нас и
of
нашей миссии.
Prabhupada came
И эти
across
слова Прабхупады,
everybody,
они,
his God brothers, they became
каждый из его
kind of like,
духовных братьев,
they
кто
came
слышал
to
это, они
Sridhar
к
Maharaj
Шридару
with a
Махараджу
kind of
приходили
like,
с
petition that why
петицией,
Swami
что
Maharaj
почему
is
с вами Махарадж
speaking so strongly
говорит
about us, because we
такими
are also
крепкими
preaching,
словами
we
про
are
нас,
also
потому что
doing
мы тоже
something.
делаем проповедь, мы тоже что-то делаем.
And he
И
said that
он
we are
сказал,
just
что мы просто
ringing the bell, doing
колокольчиком
nothing
звеним,
now.
мы совершенно ничего не делаем, кроме
And
этого в
Prabhupada
наших
then,
храмах. И
when they
Прабхупада,
everybody
когда они
gathered
все
here,
собрались
complained
здесь и
about
жаловались
Srila
о
Prabhupada,
Шриле Прабхупаде,
Sridhar Maharaj said,
Шридар
because
Махарадж
he was
сказал,
one of the
потому что
most
он
senior,
самый
therefore his
старший,
words were
поэтому
like kind of
его
like
слова
the same
были
words as
те же самые,
Bhaktisiddhanta
что бы сказал Бхактисиддханта, практически
Sridhar
говорит.
Maharaj
Шридар
said,
Махарадж сказал,
you just have to be
ты
happy
просто должен быть
that Swami
счастливым,
Maharaj is even thinking about you.
когда с вами Махарадж
Because
даже думает о
he's
тебе, потому
playing
что он
big mridanga, brihadma mridanga,
огромную
which you can
мирдангу,
hear all over the
которую вы
world.
можешь услышать по всему миру.
And he gave
И
you a
он
small
дал
place to
тебе
ring
маленькое
the
место,
bells,
чтобы
somewhere in this
колокольчиком
big
звенеть в
concert.
этом огромном
Say
концерте.
thank you to him
Скажи
that
спасибо
he is
ему
even
за то,
thinking
что он о
about you,
тебе
because
хотя бы
his
думает,
mission
потому
is
что
so
его
important, so great that
видение
at
настолько
least he
важное,
was
настолько
thinking about you, and
глубокое
that's
и
good for
широкое.
you.
Это хорошо, потому что он подумал о тебе, это благотворно для тебя.
And also when
И когда
around that time
в то же
some of our
время
brothers started
некоторые
complaining
духовные
that
братья жаловались,
Srila
что
Prabhupada
Шрила
took the title
Прабхупада
Prabhupada,
получил
which
титул
was the
Прабхупады,
title
который
of
был
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati.
титул Бхактисиддханты Сарасвати.
And
И
they also
они
came to
тоже
Sridhar
пришли
Maharaj
Шридару
and
Махараджу и
started to
начали
complain
жаловаться.
that why he took the
Почему
title
ему
of our Guru
дали
Maharaj.
Прабхупада, дали
Шридар
ему
Махарадж
этот титул?
asked him.
И Шридар Махарадж спросил его.
Swami Maharaj, that was how he called Srila
Свами
Prabhupada.
Махарадж,
they
Свами
are
Махарадж,
complaining about your
так как
title.
Шрила Прабхупаду
And I should
звали,
tell them
он,
to something.
они
I
жалуются
don't
по
have
поводу
any
вашего
problem with
титула. У
that,
меня нет
because
никаких
you
проблем с
deserve
этим,
it.
потому что ты заслуживаешь это.
That was the words. That's how Sridhar Maharaj perceived Srila Prabhupada. That you are especially empowered by Lord Nityananda personality to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. But they're complaining that you took the title. I should tell them something. Tell me what should I tell them? And Prabhupada then said, they took from our Guru Maharaj, they took temples, they took followers, they took money, they took devotees, they took properties, And they took even the printing presses they took from our Guru Maharaj. And they left me just the name. Now I cannot just give a single name. What the problem is then? They got classified. But they were very, very good friends. And as I said, Srila Prabhupada stopped here when he came for the first time, he came from USA. And before that he sent some disciples to Sridhar Maharaj to train them. And they were living here, for example, Achyutananda Swami. You heard, I showed you the recordings of Achyutananda Swami's songbook, he recorded songbook, yes. You saw it in iTunes and you saw it in Spotify. Because we have the songbook and we have Achyutananda Maharaj's formula, Swami's chanting those songs that are included in the songbooks. He wrote a very nice book which is called Blazing Saddles. It's an amazing book. And he also remembers these days that he spent here in Saraswat, Martin and Prabhupada Center for training. And so Prabhupada, when he came, he stopped here at Martin. On the way from Prabhupada, first he stopped at Devananda Gaudiya because the Mati Narayan Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and Srinivas Guru. And he stopped there and stayed there for a few hours. And then he came here. And then they also had with Sridhar Maharaj a few hours of discussions. And Achyutananda Maharaj, after Srila Prabhupada had those discussions with the devotees at the Devananda Gaudiya and then here, Achyutananda, he asked Srila Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada, what you were with your good brothers. And Srila Prabhupada said, if I will tell you, you will faint. Because those were very, very confidential talks. Therefore I cannot just tell you what we were discussing. But then Srila Prabhupada said one very important thing, and actually I brought it here, especially to hear this thing. The thing is the following, Srila Prabhupada said, Devananda Gaudiya Math, they're preaching very wildly, in a big scale, they're expanding. But Sridhar Maharaj, he's not preaching in a big scale, but he's going very, very deep into his own bhajana. Because Sridhar Maharaj was living here for tens of years. He wasn't going anywhere. He was just living here. And when Western devotees started to come to him, he started to preach. But otherwise, he wasn't very much into preaching. He wasn't into writing books. He wasn't into meditation. He wasn't into chanting. That was his spiritual life. He was very, very deep and very knowledgeable. He knew Shastras like anything. And Prabhupada then said that Devananda Gaudiya Math is preaching very broadly, but Sridhar Maharaj's followers, they are trying to go deep. And then Prabhupada said, I want both of those things. I want that we will preach very, very broadly and we will expand Krishna consciousness. But also I would like that my disciples will go very, very deep into Krishna consciousness. And that's Prabhupada stressed at this point by giving the example of boiling the milk. And sometimes we don't understand, being born in the Western culture, we don't understand this phenomena with what it means to boil the milk. Because here, years before, now the milk most probably you can buy it from the milk shop or from somewhere. But before, there were some milk vendors who were going around, keep having some big bottles with milk on the sides of the bicycle. And sometimes to sell more milk, they were adding water to the milk. And how much water you can add, because the milk in time becomes just diluted. But you immediately can feel that milk is diluted. But if you want to take away that water, you have to boil it. And then the milk becomes thicker. So when we had around 100, 300 devotees in ISKCON. 300 devotees, your devotees. Prabhupada said, now is the time to boil the milk. It's enough to preach. It's time to train our devotees. Of course, Prabhupada did not stop the preaching, did not stop the book distribution, but he started to make the point that we need to boil the milk, we need to train devotees. And nowadays, just an example, how much we expanded and how less we are boiling the milk. For example, nowadays, that's the words of Srila Shivaram Swami Maharaj, are not mine. Okay? Therefore, don't throw tomatoes at me. He gave just a few examples. But for example, before, Prabhupada's disciples, they were trained in such a way that when you see a sannyasi, doesn't matter, he's a ISKCON sannyasi, he's a Mayavadi sannyasi, doesn't matter. If he's a sannyasi, you're paying your obeisances. If a person is a guru, doesn't matter, he's a Grihastha, he's a brahmachari, he's a sannyasi. If he's in a position of a guru, doesn't matter if you're his disciple or not, you're paying obeisances to him because he's representing the Guru Tattva. And I can see, for example, the disciples of Srila Shivaram Swami, is the Harinarayana, so how he was driving, he saw somebody, he was stopping his scooter, he stopped it, then he paid obeisances and he went further. Why? Because he's educated, he's boiled milk. But a lot of devotees around Eastern campus, when we are looking at them, sannyasi, not sannyasi, guru, not sannyasi, they don't care. Why? Because they don't have this culture. They don't have the culture of sadhacharya. Therefore, it's very important to educate devotees. Very important to educate them in the behavior. It's very important to educate them how to have a proper sadhu sangha with other devotees, and to respect also devotees from other organizations, from other mats. It doesn't mean that you have to go and learn from them and that you have to surrender their lives. You know, you can have a very good neighbor, and you can eat sometimes at your neighbor's house or kitchen, but it doesn't mean that you reject, you abandon your family. Therefore, it's an important point, because sometimes there is some, some enmity, which is not a good thing for us. We have to respect all the Vaishnavas. Gurav Goshte Goshtalishu Sujane Pusaragane Swaman Krishna Mi Vrajayo Vadvandva Sharane Sadatam Bankita Pururakim Purvamatikaram Aye Swankar Chatudir Adi Chatrida Kadaha. That's a prayer that Raghunath Das Goswami from Manak Shiksha was saying, that you have to worship your spiritual master, you have to worship Lord Chaitanya, you have to worship your mantras, you have to be very attentive during the chanting, but also you have to offer your respect to all the Brijabasis, to all the Vaishnavas, to all the Brahmanas from different traditions. You have to be respectful. So these are just a few things that I wanted to share in this regard, that we have to preach. We have to expand the movement of Lord Chaitanya. We were speaking a lot these days. But we also have to boil the milk. And as Prabhupada said that if you want to save somebody, first you have to save yourself. Doctor, cure thyself. First of all, you have to be healthy. And then you can make healthy others. And how we can make healthy others? Our sadhacharya should be impeccable. Our sadhana should be impeccable. And our association, sadhusanga with other devotees should be proper. We should know how to offer respect to devotees according to their levels, because this will invoke devotees' mercy. This will invoke devotees' blessings. We can spend maybe 5-10 minutes to walk around. You can see the place. The place where we offered our obeisances was the place of Srila Maharaj's Samadhi here. This is the place of the deities, the temple, and we can walk a little bit around, and you can see the place where Srila Prabhupada was staying, where Siddhartha Maharaj was staying. Srila Siddhartha Swami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Nitai Gautama Yes, one thing is that Siddhartha Maharaj, he liked this place because for two reasons. It was very, very quiet. He wanted to went away from that street, where there are different Gaudiya mats. The street where we went to the Ghat. And those are different mats of God brothers of Srila Prabhupada. But he chose this place because, first of all, it was very quiet, but also because this is the Kola-dvip, it's the place where all the offenses is forbidden. Therefore, it's a special Kola-dvip, is one of those 9 islands in Navadvip where the offenses are forbidden. So we should offer a prayer to get forgiveness for all the offenses. Okay, then spend 5-10 minutes around and then we'll go to our rituals.